Hey Facebook, Farmer Ray here. Long time. Well, not really. I did a live. I've been doing a couple of lives, but it feels like a while that I haven't been communicating to my audience and my friends and my family. And so I just thought I'd come on and do a really quick video. I've been having a lot of people ask me about the whole keto lifestyle that I've been adapting and how it's working and what it all means. And I'm actually going to play a video today, a video that Max and I shot in the studio during my lunch break last week because he needs some extra help. Well, no, we're trying to teach Max how to use the live stream software. So we did like a pretend live stream where we recorded to the disc, and then we got to the end and we're like, that video was pretty good and I want to use it somehow. So that's pretty much what this video is about. I've kind of stumbled across the ketogenic diet maybe about 4 months ago. It was late November. I explain a little bit more in the video that I'm about to play, but in order for me to play the video, I need to go live. So this is my little intro before I play the video. And it's basically, you're going to be joining me during my lunch break the other day when Max and I were playing around with the live streaming studio. So I won't ramble anymore. I'll cut onto the video and then I'll pop on at the end. So if you want to stick around and ask any questions, then feel free to do so. Oh, hello. Very nice to drop in during my lunch. In fact, it's a keto lunch. Keto seems to be the biggest phase at the moment. Everyone seems to be talking about the keto diet. And I have to admit, when I first read about it, it really sparked my interest. And what really got me, and a lot of people have been asking me, Ray, why are you doing keto? It's full of fat and there's a lot of science behind the fact that it's dangerous for you. Well, that's true. A lot of the science that's conducted, a high-fat diet when you're having lots of sugars and carbs is extremely dangerous because the body doesn't know what to do with the fat because it's defaulting to the glucose and the carbs and the sugar as your energy source. So it's really important that if you're going to play around with keto and experiment that with your body, that you pretty much go all in and reduce your carb intake to less than 20 grams a day. At the moment, I'm counting my calories only because I'm going through that education process of actually knowing what's in my food and what changes the way that I feel. At the start, I just did not really care. I didn't want to be weighing or measuring, and I'm still not doing it super accurate. But in a nutshell, I just started off eating a lot more fat, a lot more protein, and a very low amount of carbs. I had a bit of an advantage because last year, as you would know, I had no sugar year. So I completely removed a lot of the sugars from my diet in 2017. So going that extra step to remove carbs was quite easy because I was already halfway there. So if you're going to cut carbs and sugars for the first time, you are going to feel like absolute shit. There's actually a name for it. It's called the keto flu. And you normally get that within the first 10 days of going kind of cold turkey on carbs and sugar. And that's the body adjusting and moving to a phase what we call fat adapted. And that's basically when your body starts depleting itself from all the sugar and glucose energy that it has running through its blood, and it starts looking for fat as its primary source of energy. So as I mentioned, I was already halfway there, and in November 2017, I basically cut out carbs, and I started exploring more of this keto diet or ketogenic diet. And I have to admit, all the science that I've been able to read and the way that it's made me feel is absolutely amazing. I feel so more super focused. I'm actually shredding a lot of weight in the last couple of months because my body has gone to a point where it's looking for more energy and there's heaps of fat stores because now my body is fat adapted and it's looking for fat as its primary source of energy. And so basically one of the things that it works with is macros. So macros is basically your breakdown of how many fats, carbs and proteins you should be having. So I'm aiming for a diet of about 2,000 calories. The average for a male is about 2,500, but that's to maintain your weight. So I'm going in at about 2,000 calories to have about a 500 calorie deficiency each day. So my body needs to go and burn that from my stored fat, which I had a lot of, and it's reducing. So I'm on 2,000 calories a day, which the makeup of that is about 127 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs, which is extremely low, and you'd be surprised when you start exploring this how many vegetables have carbs as well. Now that's net carbs. I'll explain that in a little moment. And then also protein, so that's all your fish, chicken and meats. Obviously, when you're on keto, you're looking for fatty meats like lamb, Wagyu beef, and some of the more expensive, I guess, types of meat, but something with a high fat contents. Chicken is good for protein, but it's not high in oil and fat. So a salmon or a tuna is really good because it's high in protein and high in fat. But unfortunately, I'm not into seafood that much, so I have to miss those ones. But what I'm having today is actually vegetarian. So I'm having spinach leaves, lettuce, with a bit of a cabbage mix. The key ingredient in my salad today is about 65 grams of macadamia oil. So macadamia oil is a good one because it's really high in fat and low in carbs and so forth. And then I'm also going to snack on about 100 grams of macadamia nuts themselves. So just in this meal today, and I'm probably ahead in the fat contents, I've probably gone a little bit over, but that's okay, I'll just have a really light dinner. So today, just in my lunch, I'm at 132 grams of fat. I'm at 12 grams of protein, and I will be on about 10 grams of net carbs. Now, net carbs means basically when you're looking at carbs, you've got a dietary fibre and also a carbs. And so you minus the dietary fibre from your carb reading. So if this had a dietary fibre of 5 and a carbohydrates of 10, your net carbs would be 5. And the reason why that is, and I learned this in 2017 as well, is when you eat sugar, your body will use fibre to consume that sugar. So that's why when it comes to eating fruit as well, it's very hard because a lot of fruit will have a high fructose level and a very low fibre level. And the only fruits that have a really good fibre level are your berries, so strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, gooseberries, and also passion fruit. So there's not a real lot of fruit that's available when you're trying to have very low sugar, and fructose is a sugar. So even on keto, there is a very minimal amount of fruit available. At the moment, this week, I'm actually doing no fruit because I'm really trying to get my body into that ketosis state, that peak state. So I'm trying to increase my amount of ketosis, only because over the last few months, I've seen a huge dramatic change in my energy, my focus, and the way that I feel just from my body. I've had to put extra holes in my belt. My shirts are loose and baggy. I'm having to buy new shirts. So everything's really, really kind of working. And for the first time in 30 years, I finally feel like I'm getting around a food lifestyle that, one, works with me, and two, I actually enjoy the food and I feel nourished and satisfied after eating it. I'm not having to go without or have shakes and things like that. The only other thing I'll say if you're going to start exploring the keto diet is to keep up your minerals. So trace minerals and so forth can be a bit lacking when doing a keto diet, especially like magnesium. So stocking up on some salt. I didn't do that today, but sometimes I'd put some Himalayan pink salt on my salad and things like that. In this case, I opted for salted macadamia nuts just to kind of give me a little bit more of sodium, and that's for your electrolytes as well. And I also choose to drink mineral water. So that's obviously loaded with a whole heap of different minerals. I like this one because it's got potassium and magnesium, and they're a couple of the trace minerals that tend to be lacking when you're in a keto diet. And that's because your body just goes through different ways of flushing through hormones and chemicals in the blood and in the body. So a lot of people who go through keto will notice they get a bit of cramping, or their muscles are a bit sore. But I'm not doing it for a muscle bodybuilding yet, I don't think. If I go down that path, we'll see in the next couple of months. But I'm just doing it because I came across it, I really enjoyed it, and it made a lot of sense. Like some days, this is obviously a vegetarian meal today, so it does prove that you can be keto and be vegetarian, and in fact, it's actually vegan. But a lot of the things you'll read out there will talk about a lot of cheeses, a lot of meats. Yes, some days my lunch is a big breakfast, and we'll have, poached eggs, bacon, asparagus, spinach leaves, halloumi, and what I noticed in the first couple of months is I was probably doing too much protein. And the problem with that is that your body will actually convert protein into glucose and use that as a second type of energy. So I'm this week trying to really reduce my protein and carbs and just give my body a big bash of fat. And the reason why I feel comfortable with that, and I'll tell you at the start, I would look at my meals and go, damn it, this looks like a heart attack in a plate. And that's because that's years and years of conditioning and brainwashing, I guess, saying that fat is bad for you. But we just need to go back, 1,000 years, 100 years, and look at the way that people used to eat. And there would be a feast and famine type of cycle, and you would, eat what was around, and that would be nuts, berries, and animals and so forth, fish. And the other thing with keto is try and get as close to nature as possible. So you're looking for things that are organic, grass-fed, and had a really kind of organic and wholesome life in the upbringing, not filled with chemicals and fertilizers and so forth. That's kind of happened from this new industrial revolution of everything quicker, faster, and better. So I'm just going to wrap this up with one other little point that I do as well, and obviously that comes from the feast and famine cycle. Over the years, I've never been one to be big on breakfast, and finally I've kind of also layered keto diet with intermediate fasting. So I basically have a 7-hour eating window, which is from 1 p.m. to about 8 p.m. every day, and I only have 2 meals. I'm not even doing the snacking thing. I'm just purely staying at 1 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. And the reason why I do that is because I've read up a lot about the benefits of low amount of insulin in your body. So every time you eat, even if it's just for a snack that's not even a sugary snack, your body is going to create insulin. And the more times that your body creates insulin, your body starts becoming used to it. And this is kind of where pre-diabetics comes from. And I can tell you that I was definitely on track to being pre-diabetic with the big belly around my waist and not a lot of kind of fat tissue around other parts of my body like fingers and legs and so forth. So when you have a lot of fat around your tummy, that is definitely an early warning sign. And by all means, I'm no doctor and this is no medical advice, so always seek your medical professions. But from what I've found, that this is definitely the way that I was kind of heading to a pre-diabetic state, just constantly being in a high insulin. So that's why in 2017 we did the no sugar, and then this year in 2018 I've chosen to embrace a more chemical-free lifestyle and looking through the keto eating plan. I don't really call it a diet, I call it a lifestyle. It's absolutely been the best foods lifestyle I've ever kind of come across. It's very easy, I love it, and there's lots of things that you can do to have that high fat and get your body into what's known as fat adapted. So hopefully that's a little bit of an intro, answers some of your questions. I know I've been posting some food pictures up on my social medias, and people have been commenting, what is all this keto about? And one of the posts that kind of sparked the most interest was when I shared that Domino's is looking to bring out a keto range. Now, I have no idea if that was just a whole marketing hoax or whether they're actually looking to do it, but unless it's bloody cauliflower-based pizzas and they actually really know what keto diet is all about, I know there's going to be a lot of people approaching it with a bit of a nervousness point of view. But, that kind of goes to show that it's such a big food trend that places like Domino's are using it as part of their marketing messages to get people onto their list and onto their radar. So hopefully you found this beneficial. If you've got any questions, ping me privately, send some comments down on this video, and I'll be happy to share and do this together, because by far I've found a lot of benefits from this. So that's enough from me. I'm going to get back to my delicious keto, high fat, low carbs lunch. Until next time, stay keto. All right. So that was the replay video from during the week. I'd like to thank Max for recording that. That was Max's first time doing a simulated live stream, and I think he did a very good job working out which buttons to push and where to move the cameras and so forth. Thanks a lot for Stephanie and Kate for commenting along the video, and a few others for joining on. Kim on, if you're still here, Bin, Stephanie Murdica, I haven't seen you in ages, Kate Toon and Sierra. Thanks for tuning in and having a listen. But if you've got any questions about keto or you want to know anything more, feel free to leave comments below. Really learnt a lot over the last couple of months, and when I learn something, I like to share it, which is why I make these videos. And so in the next couple of months, you'll start seeing a lot of videos between keto and the farm life, and hopefully you start enjoying that little transition that I'm doing with my personal brand, moving away from the business and entrepreneur hustle kind of world and going down to more that slow living and farm life and looking after my health and body and well-being. So, it's not for everyone, and you just need to explore what is and work out what type of body type you are. But, I definitely over the years have worked out that sugar and carbs are the things that my body just doesn't agree with, and this is what kind of working for me at the moment until I get to a leaner body mass, and then I can revisit what foods I'd like to introduce back into my body and so forth. But the problem is it's hard to unlearn, especially like what sugar does. And given that I did the whole sugar thing all last year, it's very hard to unlearn some of the things that you learn about what sugar does to the body and the brain and to the chemicals and how the industry has come to the massive industry that it is today. It just doesn't sit well with me anyway. So with that, you'll see, basically I will be starting a little bit of a new podcast venture soon. It's going to be called Ready, Set, Slow, and it's going to be me basically documenting my city to slow farm lifestyle. So stay tuned to that. And, find a space where you can kind of just veg out and relax and have some me time, because it is very beneficial, and you get a lot of clarity. And, the old saying, less is more, is very, very true. And the more that you slow down, the more productive you actually become. So until next time, have a great night. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment below. Feel free to share and like the video so I know whether this is content that you enjoyed, either live or on the replay. So on your marks, get ready, slow. Until next time, I'm Farmer Ray. Take care.